This is National Sandwich Month, and today we've got our favorite celebrity historian, Raffi Andonian, in the house to give us a bit of history on the sandwich. Hey.
Yeah, hey there, and sandwiched by the host.
Yeah.
You are sandwiched by us right now.
What?
And you brought a big spread of all types of different kinds of sandwiches. I'm going to start making a sandwich while you're telling us some history
Let's
on
do it, absolutely. Now, the sandwich, we've probably all heard of the Earl of Sandwich in England. Now, we think sometimes in the 18th century that he was the originator of the sandwich. No.
Really?
Very common, very popular. He loved it because he liked to eat at his desk. But sandwiches and forms have been around for centuries, so he did not invent it, although we kind of talk about it afterwards.
Yeah. Like, how did
I'd say in the English-speaking world, he helped popularize it, but origins of sandwiches go back to all kinds of different cultures, actually, going back to ancient Mesopotamia, even actually to the Turkish, who have a forms of sandwiches. And it's not surprising that, for example, the Earl of Sandwich had just been in Turkey when he comes back.
Really?
Yep. So there's kind of an Anglo version of it, but that's how he's starting to think about it, right? So origin of sandwich is kind of, I would say, as many origins, it has multiple facets and multiple origins. But what I think is funny is once the sandwich comes out, right, in the English-speaking world and is popularized with the Earl of Sandwich, in the United States, we have all kinds of our own types of sandwiches that we make that are unique to us. And look at what you're making there. There's a PB&J. I'm guessing you're going to add the J part. There's a PB.
Well, you know, I considered a peanut butter and lettuce sandwich, but you've convinced me.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the lettuce, because another one that's very American is the tuna salad sandwich.
Yes.
Now, tuna used to be sort of a more expensive type of food. So here we think of canned tuna, right? It's very inexpensive today. But tuna actually used to be very expensive, as opposed to, say, trout or salmon, even, believe it or not. So it was a luxury food.
Because it's more plentiful, or what? Like
in the 19th century, it was more so. Because it's harder to come by in the United States. And so as a result, what often happened is, let's say you had leftovers, right, of various sorts, not just tuna, but any kind of fish or meat. You would often take it, and the next day, in the leftovers, you would have for lunch, on the lettuce, some sort of, you know, the leftover meat. So let's say in my case, I'm going to use a prosciutto that I have here. So that would be a lunch that you would have the next day. So who knew that lettuce wraps are not something that is new?
Not something new.
Yeah.
No, that was a 19th century
That was like
thing.
a wild thing a few years back. You could get without bread, save the carbs, and have a lettuce sandwich.
That's right. Now, when tuna became more available in the marketplace and it became cheaper, that's when the tuna salad sandwich became more popularized. Now, we also have the canned tuna, of course, there. And so this is something that originates, though, from putting meats on lettuce and eventually becomes a tuna salad sandwich the way that we think about, believe it or not. Now, let's go back to the PB&J for a second. Because that is one of my favorites, too. However, unlike you, I don't put it with a knife. I like to put it with a spoon and really gob it on there. I like chunks of that. And I like to mix sometimes the creamy, that's right, and the crunchy.
Look at that.
I know. I go a little crazy over here and kind of spread it out and create a mix. And then, exactly that. Now, here's a question for you. What do you like? Do you like grape, strawberry, or you like to put something else?
I would honestly go with the preserves, although I went with grape on this one.
I like honey on there, so look at that. I think it's in the spirit of PB&J. It's not J, it's kind of PB&H, because it's honey, right? But it still accomplishes something very similar, right? Now, the reason this is so popular is because peanut butter became popular at the early part of the 20th century. You know John Harvey Kellogg, the cereal guy? Kellogg's cereal, right? So John Harvey Kellogg promoted peanut butter as a health food, as, again, a luxury item, kind of like we were talking about tuna, because he looked at it as a meat alternative, and it's this fancy meat alternative. We think that's kind of a current trend, you know? We look for meat alternatives and kind of these premium foods and such. Well, that was happening 120 years ago with peanut butter. He even has celebrity endorsements. Sojourner Truth, Henry Ford, Amelia Earhart. These are some of the celebrity endorsements that he got. And so as a result of that, peanut butter starts to get popularized, but especially when we begin with hydrogenation, which is what you see here, which is what gives it that sort of consistent texture. That actually makes it more shelf stable than something like this, which you have to mix, And so when that's more shelf stable, as a result, it's able to be mass-produced more. When it's mass-produced more, the cost goes down, and now it's popularized in the 1920s, as many consumer goods are in the 1920s. And, of course, that's when it becomes a school kid kind of food. So it goes also, like the tuna sandwich, from going a luxury item to becoming something that, hey, school kids take for lunch. So kind of this casual food, right? Really fascinating.
I've made something I'm calling the mother of all sandwiches, the MOAS here, because I put all the ingredients onto one sandwich.
Every single one.
That's right, I did. Right here on this table. It's going to be interesting to
I'm going to wait for you to take a bite.
Yes, okay, you're going to wait for me?
Yeah.
Raffi, thank you for joining us and filling us in on different types of sandwiches, celebrating sandwiches here on Good Day NWO. You ready? Let's try it. Okay. There's a flavor. That's something. All right. Stick around. We're going to spit this out. We can get right back with more Good Day NWO.